Burned out at work? Don't quit yet because I'm going to teach you how to negotiate relief now. Hi, I'm Michelle, a career coach who helps burned out workers over 40 gain control of their career path and build solo businesses. And today we're going to do a deep dive into a full negotiation strategy to help you find a better work-life balance. So tell me, what are some burnout triggers that you have? Share them in the comments below because we are going to beat this burnout together. Did you know that almost 50% of workers are actively looking for work right now, often due to burnout, boredom, and lack of opportunity? But quitting isn't always the answer or even possible, especially as you are in your later stages of work and you're gaining more life responsibilities. You just can't up and quit your job, right? Negotiating changes at your current job can be a powerful way to reduce your burnout and regain control. So let's explore a proven strategy to make that happen. What is one issue that if you could fix it would take so much stress and pressure off of you? And have you made a concerted effort to get what you want from your current job? And I'm not talking about a casual conversation with your boss about getting a pay raise or reduced workload. No, I'm talking about having a plan and a strategy that you put in place and you follow up. I'm going to give you a clear strategy to follow, and this is one that I've personally used. I've taught my clients how to use it, and it works. Then I'm going to walk you through a real life example to show you how the strategy works in action. So this strategy is comprised of 4 steps. The first one is to understand your problem. The second is to open up lines of communication with your manager or whomever is in a decision-making position. The third is to set boundaries, and the fourth is to look for opportunities. All right, step number 1 is understanding your problem. Now, this step is 90% of the strategy, so you want to make sure that you take time to work through it. You see, burnout often stems from specific issues like a heavy workload or a lack of autonomy. And when we're dealing with burnout, we have to also identify our part in that burnout. And I'll give you an example. A client of mine, we'll call her Sarah, she was experiencing a sizable workload increase when another employee was terminated, and she inherited all of their work. Now, obviously, she was not able to do her job fully and take on this other person's work, and so she was constantly overwhelmed, which led her to start taking work home in the evenings and on the weekends. And unsurprisingly, this led to burnout because she was working all the time. Now, once she sat down and realized herself and said, "Hey, Sarah, you cannot sustain this level of work. You are just going to continue to burn out harder and harder." Once she identified that and saw that she was going to have to stop this habit that she had created of taking work home to stay on top of things, then she had room to negotiate. Now, another part of this that you need to do before you go on to step 2 is make sure that you have proof of what you are about to discuss. Now, in Sarah's situation, it was perfectly clear that she had inherited someone else's full job. But very briefly, I don't want to get off track here with the conversation. Let's say that yours is pay and you're paid below industry standard. So then you need to have proof that you're paid below industry standard, especially in combination with your level of expertise and the years of experience that you have in your role. So that would be another example of gaining some proof before you open up those lines of communication and request a meeting. And so now that's step number 2, is to open up those lines of communication. And you're going to request a formal meeting with your manager or whomever is in a position to make a decision about the changes that you want. Now, once you have that meeting, you're going to lay out the challenges that you have already researched and written down in step 1. So For example, in Sarah's case, it was the increase in her workload and the impact it was having on her ability to do her job and to do it well long term. So she clearly explained how her workload was unsustainable and that it was affecting her well-being. So now she moved on to step number 3, which is to set boundaries, set clear boundaries. Sarah told her managers that she had been taking work home in the evenings and on the weekends, but that she was no longer going to be doing that because she wasn't compensated for that work. And more importantly, she followed through on that boundary that she set, and she stopped immediately taking work home in the evenings and on the weekends. And you need to do that too. Whenever you set a boundary, stick to it. Too often I see people setting a boundary, but then they're wishy-washy about it, and then they get soft with those boundaries, and pretty soon the thing that they negotiated for is back full-fledged. They don't have that autonomy anymore. However, you are not going to do that, my friend. Okay, so now let's go on to step number 4, which is to look for opportunities. And this is where you propose solutions and you seek support from your manager or managers. So Sarah asked her managers to prioritize what were the most pressing tasks for them. And this way, she could prioritize those tasks. And she also requested that the remainder of the duties be distributed among other employees, so the weight of that other person's job, that extra job that she was gifted, wasn't all on her. And then whatever negotiation that you agree on with your manager, you make sure that you put it into effect immediately. In Sarah's case, as soon as they identified the employees that were going to be taking on the extra responsibilities, she offloaded that ASAP. She did not wait. Within 24 hours, it was done. And then after you do that full negotiation strategy, follow up with an email. This is very important. You're going to say, thank you so much for meeting with me today to discuss my workload, my increased workload. Per our conversation. And you're going to detail out what was said in that conversation and what was agreed upon. And that's just to make sure that everybody is on the same page. And a quick tip for you. Do not be emotional about these conversations. Treat them like a business issue. That's what they are. So there is a business issue that you're discussing with your bosses, and you're partnering with them to find solutions and implement them. And just to give you a little encouragement, there was a 2024 study by LinkedIn, and they found that 62% of workers who negotiated changes in the workplace and got them, of course, had relieved burnout. So this strategy works. But listen, I am not Pollyannish about these things. I don't believe that everything works out perfectly just the way you want it to. Sometimes it doesn't. So let's say that you try negotiating and it doesn't work and you're still in a dire situation. Then consider a move, but create a plan and stick to it. The most important thing that you can do, my friends, to get out of burnout and take control of your career path is to take initiative. People won't respect the boundaries that you never set. So make sure you're doing what you can to change your current situation. Okay, so here is your action step for today. Take 10 minutes, just 10 minutes, to identify your biggest burnout trigger, and then schedule a meeting with your boss to discuss that specific issue. And as you're going through this, just follow the strategy I just taught you. In future videos, we're going to talk more about setting boundaries in more detail, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. To recap, we dove deep into a 4-step strategy to negotiate burnout relief. And those 4 steps are to understand your problem, to open up the lines of communication with decision makers, to set boundaries and stick to them, and to look for opportunities. So if you got value out of this video, please give that like button a tap and subscribe to get more content like this on burnout recovery tips and strategies to leave your 9 to 5 and start your own business. So, have you tried negotiating at work to alleviate your burnout? If so, share it in the comments below. I would love to hear from you, and it helps us build our community to beat burnout together. Now, check out the video that's showing on your screen, and I'll see you in the next one.